Hi, I'm Victor Lambs, and you're listening to The Secrets of Stargate, where we talk about the hidden meanings and deeper layers found in the Stargate movies, TV series, and more. And joining me today are Jeff Hecker. Hello, Jeff.
Hey, Victor.
And Lisa Jones. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Victor.
I guess you're over there.
I moved.
Oh. And today we're discussing the 5th episode of Season 4 of Stargate Atlantis, Progeny. In this episode, the team discovers an advanced civilizations of Azurans, a race of self-replicating nanites, replicators, created by the Ancients. Initially mistaking them for ancients, Shepard and his team are welcome, but soon uncover the Azurans' true nature and their hostility towards humans due to their creator's abandonment. The Azurans, led by Oberoth, reveal their plan to destroy Atlantis to prevent interference with their society. Tensions escalate as the team is imprisoned, but they manage to escape, with the help of a rogue Azuran, Neum, who seeks to evolve beyond his programming. The episode ends with the team narrowly escaping, realizing the Azurans pose a significant new threat to the Pegasus galaxy. What did you think of this episode, Lisa?
Okay, I have mixed feelings. I forgot completely it was Replicators. And I know we had talked about it, but I completely forgot. And
it's always Replicators. Sorry.
I was like, well, they really could be ancients because they're arrogant and they're full of themselves. And so I loved the beginning part. And when you had the scene with the hand and the head, you know, and that's Shepard's head, when you find out it's Replicator halfway through, I was like, oh, I forgot. Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah. But then after that, I felt like I'd seen this plot somewhere before. Like, it seemed very familiar. You know, I know the guy's name was Neum, but I wanted to call him Fifth. So, I don't know. I guess after that point, I just got a little irritated because it was just, you know, it was predictable and been done. And it was a good episode. But yeah, there's some things that really, it just, I don't know. Be a little more creative. So.
What did you think of this episode, Jeff?
Yeah, I like this one, although I do agree with Lisa's criticisms. It was very much a retread of the, I forget the name of the episodes, but where they find the replicators in season 6 of SG-1, where they're on the planet and they have human form and all that. And they even down to going into their heads the same way, and having the, you know, Neum be the same as Fifth, basically. I did like that they had different goals, that he just wasn't romantically obsessed with, you know, Weir or Taylor or something. So that was, it wasn't exactly the same. So that was nice that it was a little bit of a twist. And this one actually does have, you know, not to spoil things ahead, but it does have implications pretty strongly in the near future for Atlantis, for what happened here. And it was a nice callback to I think it was, the episode was Hot Zone. Yeah. Where there was some mysterious, you know, there was a creator of some virus that they couldn't, you know, that was kind of a hanging thread left out for the future, and this was that thread. So I like that they kind of tied it into that. So yeah, overall it was a decent episode, and I think it builds up to something more interesting. But this first one was okay, but it was entertaining.
Yeah, I think the real star here was the visual effects department. Mm-hmm. Most of which was done in-house. The studio had their own visual effects department at this time, because we get some really cool shots of the Azuran city, which is, you know, there's an Atlantis ship in the center of it, but over the centuries, they've built out this huge city with, you know, and it looks like something from, you know, Metropolis or something, very Art Deco, ancient city, and it's massive, and it's very cool looking. We get to see, you know, Atlantis blow up in one of the visions, and so there's lots of cool effects there. And then ultimately we get to see the Azuran Atlantis city take off and fly away from the city, and then blow up after it flies through hyperspace for a while. So the visual effects in this are really good and hold up really well, even almost 20 years later. So I like that a lot. There's some good back and forth between Mitchell and McKay, which I always appreciate. Weir gets in on the action this time. You know, she gets to go through the gate with the team. And it's always great to see David Ogden Stiers in a performance here where he gets to be Oberoth, the leader of the Azurans, and hints at a plan to rid the galaxy of the Wraith. I don't think he comes right out and says it in this episode, just that it'll be done at a time of their choosing. But when we do find out their plan, it's, pretty scorched earth, so to speak. So I liked it overall. I didn't mind really that the plot was a retread because there's lots of stuff happening and lots of action. And, they do keep the mystery about who these ancient-y looking people are enacting people are for quite a bit. And I did like that the, Neum agrees to help them because he and a subset of the replicators want to ascend like the ancients. Although he's kind of left out floating in space for his troubles at the end. But I liked it overall.
Yeah.
So, we send the Malp through at the beginning, and then the first person we see, I think, is Neum, and everybody's dressed up as ancients. So that was kind of a cool tease before they go to the credits there.
Mm-hmm. And you realize when they're not ancient, your mind is like, they're not ancients, but they seem to be ancients, but they could be ancients, but they keep it going for just a little bit. And I liked that part. I liked guessing what was going on.
Yeah, and it was
going to say, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, yeah, if you've never seen this, if you've seen this before, you'll probably remember pretty quickly the replicators because of what happens, in the next season and half season or so. But it was, like you said, nice that you don't know that initially if you've never seen this. So if you're watching for the first time, you're think, oh, because we've seen, ancients of a sort. We saw the ones on I forget the name of the ship, but the ones that were in like the simulation. So we've seen ancients like that. We've seen ascended ancients. We've seen visions of Merlin and other shows, but we've never seen like an embodied ancient really in this modern time. Weir has when she went back in time, but for the most part, they really haven't seen anyone who's been an embodied ancient. So that's an interesting idea that you could say, oh, there's these ancients around, but yeah, they quickly realize it's not actually the ancients.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to say, I like that we get to see, an ancient city, and it's not just, it is the Atlantis sets, but they've built quite a few new components to put in there. There's this really long hallway that they walk down, which we later find out is kind of a gangway to the control tower. When the ship takes off at the end, they kind of like swing it out of the way, which looks really cool. So, and, even when they go through the gate, they turn around and where, it's just a wall in the Atlantis gate room, there's this huge like open hallway and stuff. So, I thought that was really cool too.
I liked when they're walking down that hallway and Weir looks outside.
Yeah.
And then I think we get that shot of them panning back from the Atlantis. You see how much city is around them. And they ask him how many people are here, and he says millions. And you just, because it takes you a minute to realize, oh wait, our Atlantis, which is the size of New York City, is just in the center of this. Yeah. And then you've got all around it. So that was I like that. That was a really cool shot.
Yeah. And we find out they have mini ZPMs as well. They just make ZPMs as they need them to power the city, which is kind of cool. Too. Yeah.
You think when Rodney was playing around with the code, he could have figured out how
their secrets.
Yeah. For it.
He does try to make one later, but it does not go well.
Yeah. You know how the show is. They got to keep them from getting too much advanced technology. So they don't just win all the time.
Right. And then eventually they get enough to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the show ends.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the episode with SG-1 was Unnatural Selection.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's which one it was, where they first come across the
human form replicators.
Yeah.
Yeah. At first I was kind of like, oh, it's replicators and they've like adapted to become human forms and have all the replicatory tricks. And, when I first watched this, I was a little, put out. I was like, well, but in the Milky Way, it was, the replicators were invented by a scientist, right? Or his android. But they do a pretty good job of explaining the origin story in a flashback, which shows, a bunch of ancient scientists, running around and creating them and then being shocked when they take on human form and then basically exiling them and then bombing their city So I thought that flashback sequence was really good. Instead of just, telling it in dialogue, they actually do a pretty elaborate sequence.
That was nice. And that they were created to be the aggressors that the ancients themselves could never be against the Wraith.
Yeah.
Which I thought was an interesting concept. And then, whoops, they can't control it. I feel like this is the plot to how many different sci-fi shows. I mean, Battlestar Galactica comes to mind too, right? Cylons and all the things. But, where the machines you create come back and get you, which could be happening in our world today. Just saying.
Yeah. Firefly with the Reavers too, right? They tried to make everybody docile, and instead they turned them into these like cannibalistic hate machines.
Mm-hmm. So I liked that. I liked the explanation that they didn't just say, "Oh, they're in Milky Way, so of course they might be here too." I mean, they didn't just gloss over it. They came up with the whole kind of new origin story for them, which I liked. And they did try to. I kind of got lost in it, but they did try to like marry the two, like how they're related, and one of which was O'Neill, when he had the ancient database downloaded, I think the second time, into his brain, he that's when he created that weapon that destroyed the human form replicators. So in theory, the ancients knew about replicators, because where else would he have gotten that knowledge?
That's true. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, and they weren't exactly the same either. They weren't really like the resource consuming type of replicators. So they weren't, they were pretty much human form. They weren't like bug-like replicators that built themselves into something different. They were pretty much always the human form. So yeah, like we said, it's not exactly the same, which was good. If they did the same thing, because the Wraith are kind of the bug-like enemy, consuming everything.
Yeah.
So they already have that they don't need to do that again in the same show. So yeah, I think that was a good idea to make them, just straight up doing human form replicators in the first place.
Yep. And so Weir tries to negotiate with Oberoth to get some of the technology, but of course Oberoth is like, what do you possibly have to offer us beyond a momentary diversion?
That's what makes you think they could be ancient.
Yeah, exactly. Leader to leader. And of course then they throw them all on the brig. Ronan is able to escape, or does he, and they escape back to Atlantis, and then all the Wraith attack. It was all just a, vision or a test of Shepard to see if, how they would react, if they were attacked, and get all the information about Earth and their defenses and stuff. And apparently everybody else had slightly different visions. I guess Rodney was tortured, but he doesn't really elaborate beyond that.
It was probably lemons.
Yeah. Or just
food was lemon.
Just not being fed for a few hours or something.
I just left him in a cell, and the food is right outside the walls of the jail. Yeah, you knew something was definitely up. Like I said, I did not remember this. I mean, once it got going, I got it. But so when Atlantis is self-destructing, and you look and you're halfway through the episode, and you're like,
yeah.
Because you knew something was up, because it was weird. Like if you're being pursued and you steal a puddle jumper, would you gate straight back to Atlantis, or maybe you should go somewhere else first so they can't see the symbols and know where you're going. Yeah, the address. Maybe.
Yeah, I guess if you're using like a puddle jumper like DHD, they kind of, I don't know if it talks to the city and kind of tells the city where they're going or not, but
yeah, but doesn't it light up on the?
Oh, it does that too. Yeah.
Yeah, on the actual gate. So yeah, so the different things. So they both they took the one replicator who was interested in getting to know them, Fifth and Neum, and then they used him to, get what they wanted. They got what they wanted, and then they're like, "Oh, well, we'll take you with you." At least this time they took him with them, but then it didn't work.
They left his friends behind, though.
The two friends,
and they don't really say if they're the only three that want to try to ascend, or if it's, because it almost seems like they're kind of if there's millions of them, there's probably, at least a couple thousand, if not more people, Assyrians who want to potentially ascend. So they're kind
Yeah.
of leaving all of them behind.
Because the thinking is that it's the aggression code that the ancients put into the Asurans that are keeping them from ascending, and not the fact that they're made up of nanites. So Neum gives McKay access to the base code to take the aggression part out, but then McKay realizes that he can use that to basically freeze all the Asurans, for a period of time. And we get a funny exchange where, he goes back and forth with Mitchell about, how many minutes, how many is many, how many is a few,
20 minutes,
that sort of thing. Yeah.
I don't know, 7.5 there. You have a number.
Yeah. They go out into the hallway and everybody's frozen, and McKay gets in Oberoth's face, but Oberoth, grabs his hand and then, slaps him away a little bit. And then he does the Terminator 2 through a door after them. But they do, Rodney has to sacrifice all the ZPMs on the Asuran, city ship in order to escape. And that's later on, I guess, when they're already flying through space. But we do get a cool shot, like I said, of the ship taking off and flying through space.
Yeah, because Oberoth decides, well, the only thing we can do is, blow up Atlantis and kill all humans. Remove the food source of the Wraith, and they won't be a problem.
And just destroy any trace of the ancients who betrayed them,
Yeah. It was funny, though, that watching Weir talk to him originally, and they're like, well, where are you from? And it's like, oh, we're explorers. We're just, And then it's like, well, we found an Atlantean outpost. And then, but we need ZPMs. Oh, well, why do you need ZPMs? Are you like, what are you powering? And you, at some point, your mind is going, shut up. Like, stop.
Yeah.
Danger. But, that's how it works with them. So.
And so they blow up the ship over Atlantis, and the day is saved. And only the Asurans, I guess, have found a way to reintroduce the aggression protocol. And so Neum turns aggressive on Weir. And the only way to get rid of him is to put him in the back of the puddle jumper. And rather than opening the back, they blow off the back. So hopefully they have spares. And he goes floating off into space, where he's, still very conscious, but sad and in space.
I think haven't we had this before? Like replicators, like frozen in space or something. Like they're having a fifth too. Didn't he go into space and float around for a while?
I'm not sure, because I can't remember. It may very well have been, or maybe I'm just thinking of this episode.
Yeah. I don't think fifth did, but they were frozen in like the time thing, so maybe that's
the time dilation bubble.
True.
Yeah.
So they were frozen in time, but not in space. So,
but I think they go back for Neum at some point.
They do, yeah.
Yeah.
This because what it is the Asurans, because it wasn't the entire population of the Asurans back on their home planet. It was just whoever was in the city is who's flying. There's more back there that were when they were messing with the code. It forced an update to Neum, and
that was it. Yep.
That's what made Neum turn aggressive and try to kill Weir, and I don't know that they actually could have stopped him if he was really trying. So maybe he was fighting the code a little bit, but yeah, they have to. The only thing they can do is throw him in the back and hit the blow off button.
Yeah.
It was dramatic.
Yeah, it was. And then that's pretty much it for this episode. They even say in the episode, it's like, great, what we need, more bad guys, right? But that's what they get, more bad guys.
I did read that this was the human form replicators were the original bad guys, villains for Atlantis. When they started Atlantis, they were originally going to not have the Wraith. They were going to have human replicators. But then Stargate was renewed. SG-1 was renewed. And so they basically used the human form replicators on SG-1. And then they had to come up with new bad guys for Atlantis. And that's where we got the Wraith. And so I guess at some point they decided, it said in season 1, when they mentioned the nanite virus, hot zone, work. Hot zone.
Hot zone.
Then they wanted to introduce human. They wanted to introduce human replicators in season 2. Didn't get around to it, so now we're getting it in season 3. So it was originally the plot for here, but SG-1 got it instead.
Yeah.
So I guess in that explanation, I'm okay that they reused the plot because it originally was a plot for Atlantis that SG-1 stole. But, it's... And then there was a little creepy with Weir and Niam. Y'all didn't get that?
I think Niam was just overall
longing
just kind
looks while they're holding hands. It was just weird.
Yeah, the portrayal of Niam was just overall kind of like in a creepiness, just not in like a bad, like he's creeping on Weir, like Fifth was, but more just like kind of very off-putting and I don't know if it's, from what I saw on IMDb, this actor has mostly done stage stuff, so he's not generally a film or TV actor, but so I don't know if there was, we're trying to go for kind of an over-the-top performance, or if that's just kind of his acting, his normal acting kind of persona, but he was just kind of a little bit off-putting.
It's like a weird puppy dog vibe.
Yeah. I mean, they were all off-putting because they were, ancients who turned out to be replicators.
It's a good twist though, right?
Yeah.
And I liked the discussion when they said, how could you ascend your replicators or your machines or whatever? And then they had a little discussion on why not. We're made up of building blocks just like you are in your cells and all this. And I did find the aggressive code versus Ascension, and I found all of that very interesting, because if they were so programmed to be so aggressive in a weapon, have they just been sitting there for 10,000 years?
Well, yeah. Working on their big plan, I guess. They don't have a Dakara device,
So they're doing the long game, right? Long range.
Yeah.
So they made them very aggressive, but not very fast acting.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to stay on mission, right? When you're building this really cool city. It's like you're playing Civilization. It's the way I play Civilization. I just want to build my civilization and not worry about everyone else, and then everyone attacks you and you lose. But
yeah, I think it's just that there's no rush for them because the Wraith can't really hurt them. And if they do, if they destroy part of their city or part of their planet, they'll just rebuild, because they rebuilt from, the microscopic or very small building blocks, so they can do it again. So they waited 10,000 years and, aren't really in a rush, but, Atlantis kind of mucked everything up by finding them and spurring them into action. So
maybe the ancients just made them passive aggressive. It's like
I got the wrong kind of aggression.
We've created the most passive aggressive race in the galaxy. We'll turn them loose on the Wraith.
Send them put a snarky note in the office fridge.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, I was I don't know how I felt about Weir going off planet. Yeah. I don't know. She seems to be doing a lot more of that lately. It's almost like I feel like she's more part of the team sometimes than Taylor is, because Taylor got nothing to do.
No.
And it was pretty much all Weir, between the two of them, which I don't know. I feel like we're getting less and less Taylor, which I know we're going to get some more Taylor later, but I don't know. It's just weird. We're getting a whole lot more Weir.
Yeah, and Beckett wasn't even in this episode, so.
But Chuck the technician was.
Yeah, he was, yeah. And all the people sitting behind him and stuff, but looking very concerned as the city self-destructs. Zelenka was in the episode, yep.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I loved when Zelenka and the whole Rodney's talking about arrogant people are the worst. People who can't admit that they made a mistake.
Yeah. He's like...
That was good.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts before we move on to foreign languages?
Yeah, nothing other than, it was all I was almost expecting. I mean, that they were going to do like they're still in the simulation kind of a thing. Like they do do like the fake escape and they get away and then they think, oh, we're out of the simulation, and then they real escape, but then it's another fake out. And I know they don't, because that could be repetitive, but that could have been interesting if they had made this, like, it is kind of a 2-part, as we'll see, but they could have, done something like that could have really made it like a 2-part, and then they have to come up with some other plan other than just blowing it up. But
yeah. They've done the double wake up from the dream thing, I think, before, like in Michael, I think they did it. But I'm kind of glad they didn't do it this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess we could delve into the morality of betraying them, I feel like we've been there.
Yeah.
A few times.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. What do you owe the replicants, right? Are they just machines? Do they have consciousness? I don't know if we actually ever see any of them ascend. So
that would be interesting, though. I mean, you would.
They probably get kicked out of like Ascension land or something, right? They'd be like, "What are you doing here? Descend."
You're not allowed here.
Yeah.
Yeah. They do revisit.
Destroyed you.
They do revisit the concept without giving away spoilers. So they
okay.
Yeah, they do. They do come back
next time.
Yeah. So well, I don't know if it might be later on, but they do come back to the idea of can they ascend? So
that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have foreign language titles? We got.
Yeah.
Progeny, I'm sure translates really well.
It did actually. There weren't a lot, but in French we got copies conformes, which is true copies. It's not how you say it in French, but. And then in Japanese we got shishon tachi, which is progeny, I guess, in Japanese. And with that, actually pause for a second. I think we had some feedback.
We did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me grab that from the Jan Slack channel.
And while you're doing, one other thing that just occurred to me is the Asurans trying to ascend is almost like the Asgard, like we'll find out that they are on a path that doesn't really allow that anymore because they devoted themselves to science. So it seems like the Asurans are kind of along that as well. Okay.
All right. And we do have some feedback. This is from YouTube on our episode 219. Michael Jahara Jairik notes, the takeaway I always got from the retrovirus experiments was that the Atlantis team was fully convinced that Pegasus would be a peaceful place if the Wraith just didn't need to feed on humans, and turning Wraith back into humans was the equivalent of curing them of vampirism in their eyes. Yeah, I think that's how they came into it in Michael. But then later on, I think they, I don't know if they really held fast to those lofty goals or if it was more expediency after that point.
Well, and it's always I feel like it's the problem with almost every experiment or new creation or whatever. Okay, now you were able to do it, but then what?
Yeah,
and that's what we keep running into. Then what? What do you do with these people?
Yeah, you put them on a planet, I guess, and
leave them.
Yeah. And then another piece of feedback, also from Jahara Jairik on YouTube. And this is on our episode 228, the Pegasus Project. The takeaway I always got from the retrovirus experiments was that that's the same piece of feedback. Never mind. Just put something in front of me and I'll read it. But
I'm Victor Lamps.
I'm Victor Lamps. And no.
Same comment, 2 different episodes.
Yeah. On the commentary for speaking of the Pegasus Project, we've mentioned in the past that, that Stargate has a how come room where, the writers will get dragged into one of the producers and they'll ask, how come this happens, or Paul Mully, I guess, is the main how come guy, asking like how come this happens? How come they do that? But the one thing you never want is one of the producers to ask you, what were you thinking? And they almost got a what were you thinking on the lemon scene in the Pegasus Project. Yeah. Which, it was very funny, but I can see why it may have been a little too much. But what's not too much is taking a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create the Secrets of Stargate, including Dominic M., Jeff H. Is that you?
Not me. No.
Oh, not you. Okay. Chris N., Joseph B., and Brian W. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue the Secrets of Stargate and all the shows on StarQuest. And you can join them too by visiting sqpn.com/give. And be sure to follow the show on Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or find our video versions at youtube.com/StarQuestMedia. To find previous episodes of Secrets of Stargate and to send feedback, please visit sqpn.com/Stargate. You can email us at stargate@sqpn or follow StarQuest on social media at facebook.com/StarQuestMedia or on X at SQPN. And we will be back next time with the next episode of Stargate SG-1 200.
Yay.
So tune in for that. Until then, Jeff Hecker, thank you for joining us and sharing the secrets of Stargate.
Thanks, Victor.
And Lisa Jones, thank you as well.
Thanks, Victor.
And once again, I'm Victor Lambs. Thank you for listening to the Secrets of Stargate on StarQuest. And remember, we're not dealing with rock'em sock'em robots here. We're dealing with a complex code of over 3 billion chemical-based sequences. It's like trying to reconfigure the DNA double helix.
It still takes 15 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I'm sorry, but that just happens to be how I feel about it. What do you think?